All right. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to our Monday night team call. I always love these calls because it's really, I love getting to collect wisdom from leaders on our team. I love being able to just listen to people's stories and what they've been through. And it's just so like these are so rich and so good. So if you have team members or, even if this is your like, I'm going to check out this team call thing and see if it's really worth it, I'll tell you, it will move your business forward if you start showing up and making team calls a regular part of your business. So, and I always love sharing on them. And if you don't know me, my name is Natalie Schauer. I'm a senior Ruby ambassador, and I talk fast. I know everyone always tells me I talk way too fast. So if you want to grab some paper, this is being recorded. I'm going to try and talk slow, but I get excited and I talk fast and I have a lot to share usually. So, and I try and squeeze it all in. So anyways, I'm going to have a little bit of a vulnerability. I'm going to let you into my brain and my thought process and my heart a little bit the last year or so. So just keep that in mind. First of all, I am, sorry, I've got a couple kids right outside my door. So, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about what it feels like being stuck and feeling like, my goodness, I'm just doing this thing. I'm on a hamster wheel or I'm stuck in the mud or whatever that might, whatever the analogy is for you. Being stuck is a stinking hard place to be, right? It's not fun, especially when you've been doing it for a while and you're like, what in the world? I know what to do. I know what to do. I know how to do it. And I'm coaching on it. And I know it, but I just, for some reason, cannot get unstuck. I found myself as a leader feeling that way, a few months ago, just feeling very stuck, feeling very discouraged, feeling very unmotivated, feeling very frustrated, feeling very confused, whatever those words are. And first of all, let me tell you, it is normal to feel stuck. It is normal to feel frustrated, normal to feel discouraged, all of those things. This is not an easy business, right? It's simple. It's do the things and you generally get results, but it's not easy because it requires you to get uncomfortable. It requires growth. It requires you to do things that are hard. It requires you to do things you don't want to do, but you got to do them, right? Any job you have, there's some things you don't want to do, but you got to do them anyways, because that's part of the job. So, anyways, as a leader, that is a very scary place to be. I feel like when you're just feeling stuck, you're feeling unmotivated, you're feeling discouraged, you're feeling frustrated, all those things. And it kind of hit me. I'm like, okay, I had to assess it a little bit. All right. This was before convention. Convention lit my booty on fire. I'm sure like it did a bunch of y'all too, but this was well before convention. I was like, here's the thing. There's something going on here and I need to identify what it is. And I've kind of narrowed it down to, if you're feeling stuck, you're dealing with one of these three things. I guarantee it. And they're harsh, right? They're a harsh reality. One is you are just not disciplined enough. Flat out, you are not disciplined enough. And you can tell yourself you want this and you have goals and you've got these things all day long, but there's something you're really not doing in your business, right? Whether it's like, I'm doing all the things. I mean, I don't post like I should, but I'm doing all like, that's something you're not disciplined enough in. I not super, like, I haven't really done my messages, but I have been like talking to people. It's no, you're not disciplined enough to do your messages, whether you're taking people to lunch or talking in person, like it doesn't matter. Messages or making sure that you are like talking to a certain amount of people every day is a part of the process, right? That's something you need to be more disciplined in. There's something you're not disciplining yourself in. It could even be personal growth. You've not mastered a skill yet. There's a skill that you have not yet mastered. And my guess is you probably know what it is, because generally this is a process and you're getting held up in the process somewhere, right? There's the reach out process, the follow-up process, the actually enrollment process, the onboarding process, the customer service process, the silver process. Like there's a process to this. And somewhere where you're falling off, whether you're not recruiting, or whether you are not onboarding correctly, or whether your people are, you can't close, like whatever that is. Like there's something in the process that you have not mastered yet. And so you need to go through and figure out what that is. Mind you, this is something that I feel like, and maybe this is just for me speaking. I feel like if I don't use it, I lose it, right? So if I'm not in my messages regularly, or if I'm not posting regularly, if I'm not closing regularly, after a while, you start to kind of lose what that feels like and what that looks like and what that process looks like to you. So if you're not doing those things regularly, you will lose them, in which you will need to go back and relearn that skill, even if it was one that you had mastered before. So it doesn't mean just because you might have been a recruiting rock star when you started, if you're not closing any sales right now, that's a skill that you need to go back and relearn. You need to figure out what you need to do to go back to relearn that skill. So wherever you're getting held up in the process, that's a really good indicator of a skill that you need to master. And the last thing, so you're not disciplined enough, there's a skill you have not mastered, or you really don't want it that bad. And I know that's like a sucky thing to have to like say to yourself, is you really don't want it that bad. And to be very honest with you, that's kind of where I found myself a few months ago. Mind you, quitting was never an option to me. I've never been a quitter. I was never going to quit, but I found myself like, I'm going to be pretty content. Like a senior paycheck's not a terrible paycheck, right? It's not a bad paycheck to get every month. And I got a great team and things are going really good for me. And so like, I'm finding myself being content, and not contentment in a way that I really feel like, I'm just happy with the things that I have, but I just don't think the Lord called us to just be content. I think he gave us a purpose and a vision. Kristen, I was talking to her this week, and she says she's reading a really good book where he talks about there's something that God gave you where you have a purpose and you have a drive, and he gave you a skill and he gave you a talent, and he gave you those things so that you can use those skills and talents and abilities and all of that to the best that you can. So if you're not doing that, you're not showing up the way that you should be, right? If you're really not going out and putting those talents to good use and figuring out what that purpose is. And I know a lot of you have said, I really feel like this is where God has called me. If this is where God has called you to be, friend, you better start stepping up, because God wants you to succeed at this. If he called you here, it's not for you to fail. He called you here so that you could succeed at this, so that you could help others come out of, financial, what am I trying to say? Come out of financial issues, to get over their health issues, to help them lead, to help them find purpose, whatever that is. Like God put something in you. So if you really feel like God put you here, sister, you better start showing up in a way that honors the Lord, right? Just as if you are showing up for him. So anyways, I started listening to Brittany's podcast back then. And the very first one I listened to, she talked about how Christina had not developed a silver in a while. And so she's basically said she needed to go and develop a silver. And she told her, you need to develop a silver. So she went home and she just developed a silver. And then the next month she developed another silver. And then the next month she developed 2 silvers. And she said, and it was just because in her head, told herself, I have to just develop a silver. And so this is where I titled this, just go and get it. Because a lot of times I think we get so caught up and stuck in all of the little teeny tiny technicalities of what this business looks like, and where we really just forget that this is really just about sharing authentically about something that's changed our lives, helping people to get started on those same exact products, helping them be able to pay for their products if that's what they're looking for, and helping them create a team themselves. This is really not that hard. We get so stuck in the technicalities. We make it so hard, and we get so involved in okay, there's a whole process to developing a silver. Okay, what does that look like? And who am I going to talk to? And what am I going to say? What verbiage am I going to use? And what's my follow-up verbiage going to be? Should I start with an event? Should I start with we get so caught up in all of that it really just needs to be the simplicity of just talking to somebody like, you have 3 friends that could benefit from this. Can we talk to them? I would love to talk to them. So what's funny is I listened to that podcast and I was like, well, I haven't developed a silver in a little bit. I should develop a silver this month. And I went and I developed a silver that month. And it was funny, at the end of the month, I was like, how is that so hard? That was not even hard. I just overcomplicated this so much. I just needed to go and make a silver. And I know a lot of you, because I did the same exact thing. You're like, oh, go and make a silver. Okay, that's just so easy. It really is. You have to get yourself out of the way and you have to just commit to the fact that you're making a silver this month, right? So that's something that you really need to hone in on is your mindset, what you actually believe and what you actually want to happen. And do you want it bad enough to show up, master the skills and be disciplined enough to actually make it happen? You have to be the one that shows up and makes that happen. All right, so I wrote down I'm famous for like, I'm gonna give you 3 things, and then it became 5, and then it became 8, and then 10, and then I squeezed an 11th in real quick because I don't know. There's whatever. I'm like, keep it simple. Here's 11 things to do. No, but anyways, so I wanted to really walk through some of these things with you guys though, because these are some things that I had to do to really start creating momentum in my team and in my business and starting to actually see rank ups on my team, starting to see motivation and moving forward and all of these things and momentum. And, there's just things that, and you could just feel things shifting, right? And you're like, we're going in the right direction and this is the right thing to do. So I've been kind of documenting some of these things because one of my things is tracking everything, documenting a lot of these things. And I wanted to share them with you on what we have implemented as a team and what I think is really working for us. First of all, number 1, and this is what I had to do. And these are kind of in order, of how, like where to start, right? So number 1 is you've got to stay close to the fire. You have to stay close to the fire. You've got to be on your team calls. You've got to be on book clubs. You've got to be like, if this business really means anything to you and you actually want to go to a high rank in this business, Monday nights need to be a non-negotiable. I show up and this is my meeting and this is where I'm at and I'm here. I've got my camera on. I'm taking notes. I'm not doing anything else because this is a business meeting. Thursday night book club. I'm reading the book. I'm showing up and I'm being involved in my book club, right? So that's something that needs to be a non-negotiable for you. We understand sometimes there's little things that pop up that you have no control over. Obviously, those are different things, but that needs to be the exception, not the rule, right? So Leah's camping with her family right now and she's here. So that just goes to show you leaders show up, right? Leaders are where they're supposed to be. So if this is important to you, stay close to the fire. That also means find something that excites you and motivates you every day that keeps you in the network marketing industry bubble, right? So for me, like I said, I started listening to, I didn't know where to start. I didn't know a lot of podcasts. I didn't know, like, never really was a podcast girl, honestly. Now I'm like a freak about podcasts. But about a year ago, I started really just diving into the podcast scene and I didn't know where to start except Brittany's podcast because everybody's talking about it and everybody loves it. So I started there and listen, start there. If you don't know where to start, just listen to one of hers a day. And I don't mean literally like, fire hose yourself with personal growth in podcasts because that doesn't work either. Find like every morning I've been trying to listen to one podcast that really just gets me motivated and excited and like just gives me like, do y'all feel like pretty motivated after these team calls? You're kind of like, okay, that was good. That was good. Or like after convention, you're like, that was really good. That was exciting, whatever. There's always something that motivates you and excites you, right? About being in the bubble, about being close to the fire. So find something that you can listen to or something that, you can just be meditating on, that like once a day, and don't fire hose yourself because that does not work. Yes, Brittany Howard, that does not work. It's called lead her ship. It's really good. But anyways, find something that's going to get you excited again. So when you're listening to that and you're like, okay, that was a really good point. Yes. Oh my gosh. And I can really put that into practice right now. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to put into practice what she said. I'm just listening to one because I want to put those things into motion. I'm not going to listen to 8 million and then now feel overwhelmed sitting down because I don't know what I want to change. Find one podcast, listen to it, implement it, do it right then, get excited, and do that every single day so that you are close to the fire and you're staying excited and staying motivated. Here's the thing is what you focus on is what you will become. Okay. So if you are focused on leadership, you'll become a leader. If you're focused on the excitement and the excitement of what this industry is, not the frustration, then you're going to be more excited about your business. If you're focused on growth, then that's what you're going to become. You're going to grow. If you're constantly just focused on how much your business is failing, Your points are not where where you want them to be. Your team just doesn't show up. Your team this, your team that. Trust me, I'm telling you from a place of experience. I get it. It's hard when your team's not doing a lot of the things that you just want them to do. And so, but here's the thing, is like, none of that matters. If you are focused on excitement, focused on where you are headed, focused on you being a leader on your team, and focused on mastering skills. If you're like, I just can't recruit anybody. Great. That's a huge opportunity for you to go and learn that. Be excited to go and learn how to recruit people. Because I tell you what, there's always more to learn. There's always more to learn. So if you think like you can't learn anything else, you got more to learn. Okay. Promise you. Number 2 is you got to rip off the Band-Aid. That's a hard one, because when you really know that you're not in a good place and you just don't want to look at your back office and you don't want to reach out to your customers because you're like, I know what they're going to say because I haven't reached out to them in like 4 months. And I just, you have a brand new person that you recruited and you haven't talked to them in 3 months. And you're like, I can't even talk to them now because now it feels stupid. Like now I feel dumb. I just don't even know. Rip off the Band-Aid, check on your people, open your back office, look at your points, figure out where you're at, figure out who your leaders are, figure out who's not around anymore. Figure those things out, because you have no idea how to get where you're going unless you know exactly where you are. You cannot just guess and just start doing good work and just hope that things just look good and not pay attention to what's happening in your back office. You have to rip off the Band-Aid, do those things, figure out where you are, figure out what your team looks like, figure out what your business looks like, and start operating as a business owner, right? A business owner, it has books that they have to keep. They have goals, projected goals. Any good business owner is going to have projected goals. They know exactly where they are. They know exactly how much they went down last month. They know all of these things. You need to know those things too. Rip off the Band-Aid, figure it out. If you got to listen to something really exciting to pump you up, so that you can just go rip off that Band-Aid and still be excited about it, do that. But you've got to do it. Number 3 is to forget the noise around you of what's going on and just make a plan that works for you. And I don't mean to not go after incentives, and I don't mean to not try to go after the contests or anything like that. So please hear that, because those are always amazing and you always want to like maximize that as much as you can. What I mean is, don't be so focused and overwhelmed and run down by only chasing the contest or only chasing the incentive or only chasing whatever it is, that you're losing sight of just what this is supposed to be. This is supposed to be you sitting down, developing relationships with people, reaching out to them every day authentically about something that's changed your life, and following up with, and just serving people. That's what this is. Forget all the noise around you. Because if you're so like overwhelmed and caught up and you're not learning skills, you're not serving your people, any of that, those contests aren't going to happen anyways. But if you show up in the way that you're supposed to, that will all fall into place. You'll get those incentives. You will sweep those contests. All of those things will happen if you are just more focused on showing up and doing what you know you are called to do, what you know you're supposed to do to grow your business. That's doing your reach outs authentically, reaching out to people, growing in relationships, serving your customers that you have well, leading your team, posting authentically every day. Like those are the things that are going to move the needle forward. And if you're focused on really mastering those things, the rest will come. So forget the noise around you. And you have to make a plan that's yours and is reasonable. Okay. Don't try and make a plan based on what other people are doing. Make a roadmap and a plan based on like, this is what I know I can commit to, and this is what I know I can do. If I have a friend who has said like, oh my gosh, I'm going to the gym for an hour every day. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to start going to the gym for an hour every day because she's doing so great. She looks so good. And then I can't make it to the gym an hour a day. And I'm discouraged because I've missed 2 days because I didn't have an hour. Well, then that stinks. I've lost all my motivation. I've lost my momentum. And now I'm not excited anymore because I'm not consistent. Where if I said, oh my gosh, that's so cool, she's going to the gym for an hour a day. I don't know that I can commit to that. What can I do here? What if I just went into my room and I stretched for 20 minutes a day, stretched and did like some, I don't know, some band work or a little bit of weight work or for like 15 or 20 minutes in my room every day. That's something I can commit to that will develop that pattern of consistency that will make me excited. And I'll feel like I've accomplished something when I get to the end of the week. And I was able to stick to 15 minutes a day of stretching and doing some light weights in my room. Now I know, okay, I can keep my promises and I can actually, I'm a woman of my word. I'll do what I say I can do. So I'm going to keep going with it. Maybe now I'm going to start doing 30 minutes and just start growing on that, right? So only make a plan that's reasonable for you, that works for you. Number 5, this kind of goes along with it, is like, don't overexhaust yourself. I found myself in seasons of like, well, I just need so many points to grow and get where I want to be. And that is a lot. So I guess I'm going to try and develop 8 silvers this month when I haven't developed a silver in a couple months. I'm going to try and develop 8 silvers this month, recruit 14 people. And maybe that one silver that I developed a couple months ago, maybe she'll want to go gold this month, right? Like, we've all done it. We've all been like, here's some really big things I think maybe I can do. I don't know. We're going to try it. And then that's not working, right? And so you lose excitement, you lose your motivation, you're not consistent because that's such a big unattainable goal. Not to say it's completely unattainable, because things happen and you can really go in hard. But as a general rule, you need to do things that aren't going to like overexhaust you and make you feel like this is just too big for me to handle, too big to tackle. So instead of saying like, because here's what I found is I'd be like, I need to grow by 200 points this month. And then that would overwhelm me and I would have a hard time doing what I need to do. And next thing I know, I'm like in my head about it because I have such this massive thing that I'm trying to do. I'm not doing it authentically. I'm just trying to do it for point growth. And then by the end of the month, I haven't grown any points. Where had I been focused more on, I need to grow 25 points this month, right? I just want to grow 25 points. So what does that look like to me? That looks like I'm going to develop a silver and I'm going to recruit 4 people and whatever that is, right? Here's the thing is, if you are doing, and this is straight from corporate, this is why they're doing 4 joins for incentives. If you are recruiting 1 person a week and you are just consistent about recruiting 1 person a week, right? That's doable. Does that feel doable? 1 person a week. Everybody can recruit 1 person a week. Just be focused once a week on just getting 1 person that week. Just get 1 person, onboard them well, love them well, serve them well, do those things. And then next month, just retain 3 of those people. That's a pretty good, that will show you, that's a path to growth right there. Also, just make 1 silver. 1 silver, recruit 1 person a week. That should be that simple. It really is that simple. If you start to go all like, I haven't done anything and now I'm going to go and get 200 points this month, that never works. Just focus on the growth, because over time, you're going to look back 6 months later and be like, that snowballed like crazy and my business grew like crazy. And I didn't go for that crazy 200 point growth or whatever, like, and ended up nowhere anyways. I actually just focused on those consistent habits that build on each other every single day, and focused on that 1 person a week and helping 1 person go silver. And then next month, help that silver person go senior silver and make another silver and recruit your 4 people. It will eventually grow so quickly, but you don't need to go crazy. Just like, Tiffany was talking about her 3x3s, like that's just simple. It's something you can, here's 3 things within 3 categories that I can stick to, that I can commit to. We're going for consistency here. That's the goal, is we're going for consistency. Oh, I'm going out of order here. I just realized. That's funny because I reordered these. The other one is revisualize what motivates you. And so if you are not, this is number, I guess would be number 4. No, this would be number 5. Whatever. Revisualize what motivates you. If you had this dream that you wanted a farm and that was your thing 3 years ago, but that's not really motivating you anymore, find something that remotivates you, whatever that is. For me right now, I am really, really, really wanting a kitchen remodel. Okay. That's a very like short-sighted-ish, but to me, it's kind of long-sighted thing that I'm really going for. So for me, I had what I thought motivated me written down, and I was like, I don't know, that just doesn't really motivate me anymore. Right now, a kitchen remodel motivates me. And every single time I'm in my kitchen and it's dark, or I have to open a drawer and it doesn't fit things or whatever, it's just enough to like scratch that little spot that irritates me enough where I'm like, I'm going to go do some messages, because that motivates me. It gets me excited. It gets me like, okay, this is something that I can do relatively soon, right? It's not so like, when I'm a 6-star diamond, I'm going to have this, like, this is something that like is kind of close by where I can actually like save the money that I'm getting from Plexus. And in a few months, I'll be able to do something close that like gets me excited, gets me in my messages, something that really just like, you know what I'm talking about? Those things in your life that you're like, Well, I'd love to go on a trip with my family, but we just don't have it in the funds. Well, guess what? You absolutely could. You just need to get focused, get disciplined, and find something that actually motivates you, even if it looks selfish, right? I think that's a lot of us are afraid of looking selfish. So even if it looks selfish, do what motivates you. If it doesn't motivate you, that doesn't matter. Okay. You can have your why and you can have your big dreams for your family. And you can have like, I would love to buy my husband the car of his dreams. Well, the car of his dreams doesn't motivate me. That doesn't excite me. And it might excite him. It doesn't excite me. So find something that excites you and gets you ready to get to work right now. Right. I'm going to start working for this so I can get this. The next one is, here it is, team excitement. You've got to be excited for your team. If you're not excited, your team's not going to be excited. Your team culture matters so much. So after you've done these things, you need to go and re-rally your team, right? Get them excited again. Let them know the new things that are in that you're putting in place, the consistency you're about ready to show up with, the excitement that you've got, the dreams that you've reinvigorated in your heart, and like all these things. Like, get your team excited. Whatever you've got to do to get them excited. Get on a one-on-one call with every leader on your team, 1 through 3, or not one-on-one, you know what I mean? Like, get on a call with them and their sponsor or whatever. Get on a call with everybody and just, what are your goals? What are we doing? What are you motivated by? And have them do all of these same things and get your team excited. And every single time you're talking to your team, we are excited. We're so excited every time we're talking to our team. Celebrate all the little things. Okay. If they showed up really hardcore in their business last month, they didn't rank, they didn't develop a silver, they didn't do anything, but they showed up more than they have in months or even years last month. Celebrate that. Celebrate that. Throw a post up on Facebook and be like, this girl worked her booty off last month and she is about ready to see some massive growth in her business. And I just wanted to shout her out to let her know that I saw it and I'm ready to see more out of that because she is about ready to take off. Like, celebrate these things. People love being celebrated. Give them leadership opportunities, right? So, hey, if you do like a little mini team meeting, or if you do team huddles, or if you do whatever it is, you could even do it in the BU page. Like, hey, you are such a fabulous leader, and I see so much in you as a leader. And what you said the other day about such and such, would you share that in the team page? Because I think a lot of people would really learn from that and give them those leadership opportunities. Give them ways that they can step up in their leadership, because you don't want them to be blindsided by what it looks like to be a leader when all of a sudden they have a big team, right? You're developing leaders. You're developing people as we go. You're not going to wait until they've got a team and then now I'm going to teach you how to be a leader and lead your team. We're developing leaders as we go. We're teaching them how to show up on camera. We're teaching them how to talk to people. We're teaching them how to speak on a call. We're teaching them all of these things. Okay. These are what develop leaders. The next one is make a system and stick to it. This is number 7. Make a system and stick to it. It is so easy, especially when you're on these calls, to like be like, oh, what she's doing is really good. I'm gonna do what she's doing. I'm gonna try that. Or be at a convention, you're like, she did that thing, and I think that really worked. I don't care what system you choose or who you're with or what I don't care, but find a system and stick to it for the love. This is something that I was kind of convicted on. And so we've really implemented some systems in our team for the last like few months. Guess what? For the first month, those systems really didn't work. They didn't. People didn't use them. They didn't show up for them. They didn't utilize the resources we had. And it kind of was like, well, is this even working? And it was really tempting to throw the system out because it didn't really work. No one really used it. But nope, we're going to stick with it. We said we were going to do this and we're going to stick with it. And we stuck with it. And we've been doing it month after month after month. I told you guys about my system and our calendar basically for the month and how we just have this seamless system. It's starting to pick up traction. Our first Plexus preview, we had 0 people on that call. Our Plexus preview, this last one that we did, I think it was in July or something like that. We had like 8 people on the call. So the thing is you just have to find a system that you love and stick to it. Don't switch it up. Make tweaks, right? So like this didn't work within the system. This could be changed. This could, whatever that is, but don't just throw out your system. Make tweaks within your system, but find a system and for the love, just stick with it for a little bit so that you can track if it even works. Because if you throw out that system and then add a new one, you're comparing, two different fruits at this point. You need to be focused on the one system that you're committed to, stick to it, and just do that for at least a quarter and see how it goes, right? I would say try it for like 6 months to a year, because if you're really involved in a system and you could get yourself into a good system, you can start onboarding people seamlessly, more consistently. Your team's going to see seamless and consistent, and they're going to start showing up that way. So you just need to find a system and stick to it. Okay. Whatever that is, figure out what your system is and stick to it. The other thing, number 8, track it all. Track everything you're doing. Track it, track it, track it. If you think that you're doing what as much as you think you are, likely you're not. You have to track everything. Track all of your reach outs, track your follow-ups, track your, track your posts, even like all these things, like, hey, this is a post I put up and this many people commented and this many people liked it, or whatever. Like, if you can track these things, you're going to actually know what's working in your business, and you're going to be able to see like, oh, I actually am not doing as many reach outs as I thought I was actually, once I'm actually tracking things. So if you start tracking everything as you go, you're actually gonna be able to see more holes in your business, but then you're gonna be able to see where you need to make tweaks and how you can move forward. Number 9 is stay accountable. This is a really important one. You should be doing weekly or at least monthly coaching calls with your upline, and find a way that, if like we have an IPA chat with my team, and I threw my upline in there because I wanted the accountability too, right? It's not just me leading a team and me making them accountable to me and other people around them. I wanted to be held accountable by my upline as well. So my upline is in the IPA chat because I also want to be held accountable to that. So find the accountability and keep them close. Okay. And sometimes that accountability is your own team of like, hey guys, here's something I'm going to do, and we're all going to do it together. And then make it somewhere where you also have to publicly show what that is. So you have to be accountable to your team so they know that you're doing what you ask of them, right? Find a way to stay accountable. Number 10 is, where's number 10? Oh, keep something close by that reminds you of what you're trying to do. Okay. So I feel like almost all of us have something where we've felt a certain kind of way. I'm going to wrap this up soon. Sorry. I know we're running low, but we've all felt a certain kind of way, right, about the business wherever we are. So whether it was at convention, or whether it was watching somebody rank up that started after you, that ranked past you, or whether it's not earning a trip or whatever, like any of that stuff, we've all had a moment where we felt a certain kind of way, right? Am I the only one that feels a certain kind of way sometimes? So the thing is I have realized that I'm very much a visual person, and I need things to stay in front of me to remind me of the way that things made me feel. And I know this is something new that I've done, and it's weirdly working for me. But at convention, I told myself last year, I'm going to convention as an emerald. I'm not doing this again. I'm not going as a senior ruby again. Guess what? This convention, I went as a senior ruby again. And so when the emeralds, this is me telling, I told you it was gonna be a vulnerable conversation tonight. When the emeralds were walking that stage, I bawled my face off, just bawled my face off. I'm happy for my friends and I'm so excited, but I bawled my face off because I knew I had not shown up for myself in the way that I needed to show up for myself in the past year, to keep promises to myself that I made. I didn't keep those promises to myself. So I was so disappointed in myself because I did not show up in the way that I knew I had to for me to walk the stage as an emerald. And that hurt. That was very disappointing. And so watching what could have been this year, and watching those things and being like, man, I was upset. And then afterwards, Emily, y'all know Emily or not, she obviously is a gorgeous emerald, and she came down and she had gathered a bunch of these little, y'all remember these? Oh, it's stuck on my thing. These little things, you could see this, right? The little leis they were wearing, right? So the leis that they were wearing when they all walked the stage, the emeralds had the green ones, sapphires had blue ones, diamonds had the white ones, and they were all wearing these leis, and they lit up and they were so cool. And I remember even saying to David, I want to wear a light up lei, and being like, whatever. And so she brought down some of those leis and gave them to, some of us on her team. And I remember in that moment, I was like, I wore it all day, which is silly because I hate wearing stuff like that because it makes me sweaty or whatever. But I wore it all day because I was like, I don't know. I'm just going to sit here in my feelings today and wear this. I don't know. I'm just going to be in my feelings. I need to be reminded of what this feels like. And I'll tell you what, I put it right here next to my desk. And when I go to show up every day, I see it and I go, I didn't like the way that felt. I didn't like the way that felt at all. So I'm gonna get to work today and I'm gonna get some stuff done because I did not like the way it felt to face the fact that I did not keep promises to myself. So this is me keeping a promise to myself and reminding myself what that felt like when I didn't keep a promise to myself, right? It's kind of it should be like, oh my gosh, this is so like, and it is, it's motivating, but maybe in a different way. But for me, it was like, we're not doing that again. We're not going to do that again, right? So keep something that is going to remind you of when you felt a certain kind of way, even if it was the time that you got super excited and motivated and you knew this was the thing for you. If that's something, keep it close by. It just have something tangible that has your heart and your feelings wrapped in it so that you can be like, ooh, I didn't like the way that felt and I don't want to feel that way again. So I'm gonna get this done. Or, oh my gosh, I remember exactly how that made me feel. And that was the best day of my life. And I want that again. Like whatever that is. The last one is keep learning. Okay. You have to keep learning. You need to become a master at what you're doing. I'm reading 10x is easier than 2x right now. And it's so good. It's so good. But the big thing that he talks about is being a master of what your craft, being a master at what you're doing. And so here's the thing, and a lot of it, it's not about, and when you say 10x is easier than 2x, it sounds like, that's a quantitative. It's not quantitative, it's qualitative. So it's like the quality of what you're doing needs to be 10x instead of feeling like you need to just do double of everything and trying to like do things really quickly. It's called 10x is easier than 2x. That's literally the name of the title. But it's not about the work. It's about your mindset, right? It's about your mindset while you're doing it. It's mastering those skills. It's honing in on your craft. So this is like eliminating all the other noise around you. He says, let go of 80% of the other important things and find the top 20% things that you can just be laser focused in on and just learn and master those skills like crazy. So if you are, which by the way, those 4 skills for us should be recruiting, retaining, duplication, leadership, right? So all of those things need to be a part of your mastery. If you are not, if you're not, seeing results in any of these, then that's one that you need to start mastering. And even once you've mastered it, master it some more. Like be like a extreme student of what you're trying to do. Even if you are a jewel already, be an extreme student of what you're trying to do. Michelangelo, he talks about this in the book. This is really disgusting. I'm sorry, but it's a really good example. Michelangelo actually, he's the one that did the statue of the David and, a bunch of other statues. And he did statues of like men, right? Like humans. And he wanted so badly to be a master at that. He would sneak into morgues at night. This is really disgusting. Sneak into morgues at night. And he would actually like dissect human bodies so that he could see how muscles worked and how tendons worked and how all of that stuff did. He like dissected those things and then he'd sneak out so that when he went to go actually sculpt, he knew not just what it was supposed to look like. He knew the internal workings of what he was trying to create on the outside. And so that's like when you're working on your business and you're trying to master skills, go deep into it. Know the internal workings of what you're doing and what you're trying to master on the outside. Go deep into it. If you are struggling with like nobody's commenting on my stuff, go take a social media class. Like go do something to where you know how to like attract people. Go and if you aren't sure how to do reach outs, study reach outs, study some sales things, like get involved and really start being a student, an extreme student of what you're trying to master. You have to keep learning. You have to keep digging in and like, okay, this is going well, but there's still something that I'm missing. Dissect it, dig in, figure out what it is in your business that you have not yet mastered and be just super focused on those things. So anyways, I hope this gave you guys some direction a little bit on how to move forward. These are actually pretty simple. They're things that we've all heard before. This is nothing new. This is nothing surprising. But it is what it's going to take. And so I'm telling you, if you are not where you want to be, you either have not mastered a skill, you're not disciplined enough, or you just don't want it bad enough. And that's a huge red flag, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't want it bad enough, you need to go back and start over, start at your why, what motivates you, follow this process, and I promise you will start seeing results. but be excited, change your mindset. You can absolutely do this. Love you guys.